Hey guys, it's Friday. I just quickly want to say sorry for no Wednesday episode. It's getting to that point of the year where we're kind of hurting on, like, every other week is going to be patches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting really difficult I feel like everything is just worlds happening. Obviously, we got preseason coming up, but
Right.
nothing new at the moment. So this week, we thought it would be fun to go over this 2022 season as a whole, talk about everything that happened, champions, items, etc. And we're going to grade Riot.
Yes.
Maybe we're going to do this right off the bat, so we don't know what we're going to grade it. Maybe we'll have different grades.
Yep.
Maybe we'll agree. Who knows? We thought it'd be fun. So before that, we have some Q&A questions to go over, starting with episode 102. We asked, what should Tyler spend his honor token on? And Matt, aka Calientes, wrote in and said, the chroma options both sound booty. Yep. Take the $1 million and you might be able to get a couple of World Finals tickets. True.
I'm really glad you said that because that was funny. But now I'm sad about Worlds, so thanks. Thanks, Calientes. I should have read that. You should have read that in a British accent. Cool. No, that was good. I like that. You're right. The chroma options are bucking booty, so I'm just going to hold it until they make me use it, I guess. Which I don't know if they ever do, actually, thinking about it. I don't think I've ever held one.
They haven't. I don't think they've said anything about people who have a token still.
Right.
They talked about the Malzahar skin.
Right.
But they're just like, oh, for people that have a token.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Also, Mayo wrote in. He said, Twitch support enjoyer here. Twitch chromas. But I haven't seen the upcoming stuff yet, so it sounds like it's worth the wait. Yeah, I agree. The two chromas that are left are both like the pink ones, and they're not even very pink. I don't know how to put it, but like they're
just for medieval booty. Twitch, right?
Right.
Kind of
it's
a
just
booty
kinda,
skin.
yeah. It's about time they do something with that one. And then we also had a couple replies on episode 103 about Cassante, which hopefully you guys liked. I thought that was a really fun one.
Mm-hmm.
I find that champion to be fun to watch, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let's see, we had a couple. I'll start with our newest writer, Bob Sat on a Log. Great name, by the way. He said, pretty much only used as a CC tank that has mobility. Oh, sorry, I should tell you what we're asking. Our initial thoughts, what are your initial thoughts on Cassante is what the question was. Bob Sat on a Log said, pretty much only used as a CC tank that has mobility. Looks kind of boring unless they make his snowballing better. Ornn does his job, but does way more damage despite Cassante wielding weapons. 4 out of 10 right now.
True. Ornn,
I didn't think about that.
Well, yeah, Ornn just, the brittle damage is so insane.
It's disgusting.
And then guess what? What else does Ornn do? He gives your team thousands of gold worth gold for free.
Just gotta hit level 13, that's all. Just gotta ride it out. That's why, if you have an Ornn in a game, don't surrender until you have items on your teammates. Just ride that shit out.
Yeah, I'm just... I mean, obviously we gotta wait till he comes out.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. Ornn, I think they just overloaded. I know we've talked about this. I think they just overloaded Ornn too hard.
It's very possible. It's
too OP.
Yeah, the champion. I mean, there's a reason he's always relevant in pro play, right?
Yeah. Calientes wrote in again and said, I'll play him, I'll fail, I'll tank my LP, and then I'll return to Big Daddy Garen. Have to agree with Thoticus, who we'll get to in a second. Definitely seems like a pro play champ. Potentially to be played sup, maybe? I could see him being played sup.
That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
Just insane. He has CC everywhere he fucking walks.
Right.
Possibly, I mean, he has dashes, right? So he has his own self-peel. So he might be a little bit better than like a Leona or Nautilus that are just going to go in and, they do the same thing. They just lock down some targets.
True.
But Cassante has escapes.
Yeah, he's got escapes where he can put the enemy deep in their enemy's territory. Yeah.
Also, one thing to note, I know we were like, when we were talking about him, when he ults, all his like resistances and stuff are converted to AD.
Mm-hmm.
I did see his ult, has like a dash and it knocks the target backwards, and if it's over a
Right.
wall, whatever, that has a dog shit AD ratio. Like
Does
it's
it
like
really?
10% of
Okay.
your AD. So you do
That's
not
good.
want to build any damage on this dude.
Okay. Good. Good.
So, but obviously, whatever. All right, then I should have read Thoticus first, but
That's
tell us
okay.
about Thoticus.
Thoticus said, I believe that Cassante is more suited as a pro play champ and that maybe people in low elo might have difficulty performing well with him overall. 6.5 out of 10 champion. I like the rating system that you guys just
I
threw
know
in
we
there.
didn't even ask
Like,
for that. That's cool.
right. I love it though. Like, I love the creativity about that. That's awesome. Yeah, I think he's gonna have a bit of a skill ceiling. A very high skill ceiling and a very, very, very low performance floor. So if you're really bad with him, you're going to be really bad. Unless you can mechanically play him well, I think, just from what we're seeing. So that may change later. I'm not sure. It may just be that he's just a big frontline tank who likes to displace people, kind of like Poppy. She doesn't have a super high skill ceiling. So thank you for all those that wrote in. Appreciate your responses. And Bob Saddlelog, welcome to the club, dude. Beyond that, we got some stuff to talk about, guys. This is a bit of a review, like Dean said, bit of a review episode, and we're doing this off the cuff with grades. I mean, I wrote some notes down, that way I had something to go off of, because I would forget. ADHDs like that. But the first area I want to start off with is Drakes. Drakes were the big thing of preseason. I want to start off with them and see, how do we feel about them? How will we grade them? How will we grade the category overall? So we'll start off with Hextech. What are your thoughts on the Hextech Dragon?
I mean, I think I personally, I think I like the map the best of whatever it offers. If it's a soul, I love the Hex Gates. There's to this day still, I will walk right past them, be halfway into almost to my jungle, and be like, "Fuck."
I do the same thing.
But the Hex Gates are, in my opinion, are easily the best part of this. Obviously, it gives the attack speed and ability haste.
Right.
Great, that's cool. The soul is like it reminds me of Static Shiv with a slow on it. Like,
right.
Side note, I miss that fucking item so much. That was a great item.
I loved Shiv.
When you could get when you combined Rapid Fire and Static Shiv together.
Oh god, that was disgusting.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Okay. I think on the previous episode we were talking about like where we have the dragons, like what's the best one?
Our tiers. Right.
I think I threw it like in like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and I had it a lot higher. Hextech Dragon, I would give, I think, a solid B plus A minus. I think it's a fair dragon. I think the soul is extremely powerful, similarly to the soul of Infernal, in terms of combat power. Except you get the burst. Obviously, Infernal has more of the execute style burst. This one has more of the slow with the damage, but the damage is deceptively powerful, and the slow is actually rather strong. That's why if I were to rate,
I'm gonna look it up. Keep talking.
I don't know what the slow is, but if I had to rate the dragons just based on their soul buffs, I would put it towards the top. I think I think that the Shiv pop or the electricity pop is extremely powerful. Free CC for any champions that don't have it. There's not another dragon that gives you that, right? It's soft CC, but it's free. And then I would probably look at, in terms of soul power, I'm probably looking at Infernal, just because I think the power is easy to measure and it's super strong. Did you get it?
Is it passive? Hold on, Dragon's Breath. No, I did not. I'm still looking.
That's okay.
He kind of blows.
In terms of the soul power, I would look at Infernal Dragon. I don't remember I don't remember the Cloud Soul does anymore, or not Cloud. The Water Soul does.
Ocean
Soul. Thank you.
It regens your health and mana. the
That's
soul.
right. That's right. That one's pretty powerful as well. That's like a kind of like, almost like a mini Warmog style, right? If I remember
Mhm.
correctly, it gives you a shit ton with the soul. And I would put that right behind Infernal in terms of soul power. And then I would be looking at probably Cloud. That's the one where you cast your ulti and you get a thing of movement speed, I think.
Yeah, you get a fuck ton of movement speed.
And then I'd go Mountain. I think the Mountain Shield is much more niche. It depends more on your comp. I mean, obviously, if you're playing a fairly squishy comp, Mountain Soul's nice to have the shields, but doesn't really do a whole lot for you. Whereas if you have a strong team back to front team fight comp, it's a big difference. So I think that it has a different place in the game, which is why it, like I said, it's more niche. Is why I put it more towards the bottom. Um, brings me to Chemtech Drake, which is also like one of the hardest things to say. Chemtech Drake. Yeah, that gets a big fat F. We got it for 3 patches, if that.
Not even it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it got removed. Well,
It made it through 1 patch because they tried to change the field,
yeah.
and then it got taken out. I think it got taken out at the beginning of the season. Like it wasn't preseason anymore. It didn't get taken out until the season started. So, yeah, big fat F. That was a massive fail in every direction. I don't remember what did this. I don't remember what the basic bonus was, let alone the soul.
I'm
bonus.
pretty sure it just gave you damage based on how much HP you're missing.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then the soul would like be like a temporary. It's not a revive though. You would just
It was
live
like
for a little
a
longer.
Scion passive.
Yeah, the zombie passive. That's right. Yeah, that and then that didn't even work properly half the time, more than half the time. So, cool idea for a passive. Sure, I'm not gonna hate on that aspect of it. I think it's a very interesting soul passive, but that dragon fucking sucked. The map was fucking horrible. I felt about that map much the same way I feel about the mountain map. I fucking hate the mountain map. There's too many little pathway blockages. It's weird for a defensive dragon. It offers quite a lot of offense in terms of the map changes because it blinds your wards. You have to ward more narrow corridors, and you don't get the vision that you would expect to get. Whereas the Infernal Drake, for being a very offensive dragon, opens up all the corridors. So I mean, I guess you could say that either of those could flip flop, being defensive or offensive. But the way I see it, if you can't protect yourself from an assassin with wards, that's an offensive dragon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's easily like a hard fail just because.
Yes.
In my opinion, anything that Riot releases and then instantly retracts within like a month,
Massive failure.
no bueno. No bueno. Trying to think of what's another example. I know when they did, maybe the assassin rework, like when they did LeBlanc and stuff. I
Yeah.
think that lasted a little bit longer.
Yep.
God, what was it? I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm trying
There's
to think
been
of
a
something
couple
else.
things, and I just can't remember them off the top of my head. That they were in for like a week, and they said, "Oh, we fucked up," and they remove them.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't think of any
easily-
shining examples right now, but they exist. I know they do.
They definitely do. If you guys can, maybe that would be the question, like right off the bat. If you guys can think of any big things, especially if you've been playing the game for all 12 years, 13 years, what are some shit that they've released and then instantly like removed from the game? Because I can't think of anything. If you guys have any, just tell us. Like that'd be a good question.
Yep.
Okay, so are we anything else you want to talk about the dragons, or are we just gonna like?
Nope. I think I've hit what I wanted to. I mean, obviously there was 2 new dragons, and there weren't any changes to the old ones other than some numbers when they did the durability. But durability's coming. That's a long section, so I was gonna give it a minute.
So, F for the Chemtech.
Yes.
Are we? Do you want to grade each section and then at the end do one overall grade?
So I figured there's probably like an average grade between them, right? So like,
Sure.
Chemtech is definitely like an F minus, and like I said, I think Hextech is like a
B
B
or
plus,
A.
A minus,
Okay.
somewhere in that range. So we'll just call it like a good 90% versus a good 0.
So like a C.
Yeah, I would grade it out as a C. Actually, just because they removed the Chemtech and got it out of there, I will give them instead of trying to make us deal with it, I'll give them a B. I'll give them
Okay.
an overall B, maybe
How
B
about a
minus.
B minus? Yeah, big
Yeah.
I like B minus. They
'Cause
knew
we
they
did have
fucked
to
up.
deal with it, but yeah, I mean, swallowing their pride definitely increases the grade a little bit there. So yeah, overall, give the Dragons a solid B minus. Valiant effort. You succeeded very well in one area and failed terrifically in the other area. So
And we're gonna find
congratulations,
out
Riot.
if they can redeem themselves with it coming back in a few weeks here.
Yes, that's going to be very, very good.
Watch them fucking remove it again.
I know, right? That would
There's
be
no
pretty
way
funny.
it's not as bad as it was.
Right.
So we'll see. All right. What do we have next?
Well, we have an option here.
Ooh, shit.
We can do champions, items, or overall game systems. If we want to do something short, overall game systems is going to be the shorter route here. That will lead us into items, and then we would go into champions there.
Let's do that.
Okay, you want to do that?
Yep. Let's do that.
So, overall game systems. There's a couple things here that I wanted to include that are not. Some are part of it, some are a little bit out of it. So, events in general and event passes this year. How do you feel about the overall after all of the events of the year with the passes and whatnot? What are your feelings on those?
I think the first thing I can think of is it maybe was it the first event of the year, which I know is the Chinese New Year one. What was the event where they didn't, or maybe it was in preseason, but they had the event because obviously they switched to the you get points based on how long you're playing in game. You get 200 points, and they didn't do the where it would carry over.
I forgot all about that.
That was horrible, but
Yeah.
they fixed that. They were like, but I mean, overall, I mean, we already know this. You're getting much less than what you used to,
Right.
because now you gotta stay in games much longer.
Right.
Or you gotta play more games. There's every time an event pass comes out, there's a dude on Reddit that like goes hardcore into like the analytics of it, and they're like, oh, you have to play this many games to max out and get 2,000 tokens for the prestige skin, etc., etc.
Jesus.
So, and I mean, we already know how bad the Star Guardian event was, and they had to fucking just shut it down. So that was not good. I think events kind of blew cheeks this year, which is saying a lot because of how bad Rune Nation was last year.
Right. No, I agree. I think the events sucked. However, the Worlds event that's going on right now, the way that they decided to do the pass, I thought was very interesting. They made it its own tab, so it's not in your loot tab. It could use a little touching up, like finding where your tokens are. It took me a hot minute at first. I was like, where the fuck are my tokens? It's in the top right corner there, but it was definitely a little bit more difficult to find. Also, looking through some of the stuff on here, like I didn't realize there was a lot more stuff if you scroll down. Like it took me about a good week and a half into the event to realize, oh, you could just scroll down. There's more stuff. So the UI, the user interface could use a little bit of work, but I do like the idea of just following the trend and having your pass at the bottom and seeing your progression and seeing how far you are to the next piece there. So I will commend them for that. I know that they had, like you mentioned, they had dropped the rewards that you get. They lowered those for sure. However, they did give us Amazon Prime rewards, which is in partnership with Twitch.
And then nerfed it.
They did nerf it. Obviously, they increased their Riot points prices and whatnot. So, I think I will commend with the Prime thing, although that does give a little bit more of a barrier where you have people that maybe just pay for the pass and don't have Prime or can't afford Prime or something like that. So that part kind of feels bad. However, it is a free-to-play game, and you really don't actually ever need to put any money into this game at any point ever at all, and you could still be fine. So in terms of does it affect the gameplay? Minorly. The cosmetics obviously are nice, but it does not affect the way the game plays, so I can't put too much weight into this category on it. But I do think that it was an interesting piece that came out this year. Definitely something that Riot's doing out of game that's more interesting. I would give it a C minus because Star
Talking about
Guardians was fucking awful. All
just
of it
event
in general,
passes
events
or
in
the
general.
systems. Okay.
Yeah, events in general. Solid C minus. Star Guardians was so unbelievably fucking uninteresting. The lunar event, I think it was the beginning of the year, that just wasn't working properly. They did try to come back and make up for it by giving people, more stuff, more extra points and stuff like that. But it's very easy to discourage people very quickly off the bat, and to try to make up for it is a lot more difficult, especially if you're not overdoing with your makeup. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a solid C minus on just general events and event passes.
Yeah,
Um,
they've definitely been better ones in the past, and I'm. It's like there's some people that they don't play enough to
right,
like get all the rewards, and
right.
I don't know. It's just I hate when it's just like, oh, it's more grindy. Like you gotta just go through. I don't know. I like burn through the main missions in like 3 days, and then I'm just stuck on that repeating. I don't know.
The recurring one, right?
It kind of blows.
That's
I'm
fair. That's
probably
fair.
probably around C minus, maybe a D even.
Okay, okay. That's fair. I mean, one of the things that is nice that came out of it is they have released some cool prestige skins in accordance to these events and the skin lines that go with them. So that's probably what's propping it up, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, they're pretty boof. Um, Other things I wanted to include the new matchmaking system that they, or I should say, the improved matchmaking system that they released was it about a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like that. I have found that, albeit there are games where I still get trolly people, I'm not playing like I feel like I'm playing with people that are trying most of the time. Put it that way. Um, and maybe their skill level is just low, but not that my skill level is particularly high, but maybe their skill level is just low. I find that it is more skill based, not just elo based, whether you're winning or losing, which I felt before you'd get, someone who's just trying to D rank. Um, but I think the matchmaking system, I would give it a B. I think it's an upgrade. I don't think it's a huge upgrade, but I think it's an upgrade.
I still think Smurfs are a problem. Like,
But I've seen a lot less of those. Unless you're playing flex queue, discount flex queue. This is really for solo duo.
I mean, I still see it because like usually if I'm like getting shit on or someone like my mid laner's getting shit on, I'll bring up on my blitz. I'll be looking at, and then I'll see like the enemy mid laner's account is level 31, and I'm like, oh my god, like
Right.
that happens a few times, or anything that's like literally maybe even under like levels 50. It just seem a little sus, but
Yeah, I can
yeah,
see
I think for
that.
the most part, yeah, for solo queue, but for flex and normal games, it's almost unplayable just because
Right.
I think the other night we were playing with Dom and we had like a diamond. We went against some diamond players. I'm like, cool, dude. Like, I love it.
Yeah, it was rather annoying, but I guess flex is gonna be flex because otherwise you're
Hmm.
waiting in queue for 6 years. So it's kind of a take your pick, right?
Yeah.
Um. Okay, so yeah, matchmaking. Yeah, like I said, about a B. Um. Other systems. Oh, objective bounties. Objective bounties. These I'm gonna give them a C plus.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you right off the bat the reason why. Janna top.
Yeah. That's the first thing like my mind went to
Yeah. If
because
they didn't fix that, it would have been a solid F.
it's like it's just like yeah, at the beginning of the game, beginning of the year, when that was the whole thing, you basically would just be sacking your lane, purposely getting behind, roaming the map, and then you had your hyper carry bot lane. I remember people were playing like Kog'Maw or like Jinx,
Yep.
and boom, just
Tris. Yep.
give them all your fucking bounties, and they're already like, yeah, because I would watch a lot of Lorlo, and that would happen in Lorlo's games, like
Right.
his like ADC would have like 18 kills, and then his team would still have bounties.
Yeah, it's just like a different way of using the funnel strat, right?
Yeah.
Which they're still struggling with because they've built this game around building an economy, right? In gold, building an economy in golden items, and using that wallet, I guess, to slap around your opponent. That's kind of how the game's built around. So when you give these opportunities to just front load gold into your scaling champions that are late game champions that get to come online at fucking 20 minutes instead of 30 or whatever, uh, the game gets incredibly tilted to one side, and it's not fair. Now, they did go ahead and work out a fix for it. However, I do still find that either I don't know what things are worth what gold, or it's off, because I often feel sometimes in games where I feel like we're getting just absolutely worked. I wonder how we don't have objective bounties. And then in games where I don't feel like we're that far ahead or that far behind, I see them pop up. So either I'm just not aware of or very well informed on how they are exactly decided, and maybe that's Riot's secret for a reason, so people aren't trying to abuse the system, because we already did that. So maybe I just don't know exactly how they're decided or determined, but they are not quite predictable, which definitely lowers that grade, in my opinion.
I think they're getting better at it. I think it'll get much better coming up. I'm not sure if they're going to be touching it during preseason. I hope they do. I'm sure they can always come up with better adjustments to it.
I would think over the mass amount of games that get played on all servers every day, they should have a pretty damn good idea by now of when they should kick in and when they shouldn't kick in, if that makes sense. I do think it is a good way to push gameplay forward, though. I will say that. It's like, yes, these exist, and I have seen plenty of teams bounce back and almost slingshot up to winning, from getting shit on early to slingshotting up. And so that does bring a nice aspect to the game, although it certainly feels bad when you're the team who's been controlling the game the whole time and you get slingshotted. Slingshot? Whatever. It certainly feels bad where you've just been kicking the enemy's ass the entire game, and then all of a sudden you lose. You're like, how did that happen? We were winning literally for 80% of the game. So that feels bad, but I think that's prevalent in literally any game. I mean, that could happen in Monopoly. Someone just lands on your boardwalk and all of a sudden you have all the money because you had 6 hotels on it or something. I don't know. That happens in baseball. Bottom of the 9th inning, you down by 9 runs and somehow you win 10-9 or something. Football, the 2-minute drill where you're getting it in. So I think it's fair that there's like some sort of comeback strategy and mechanic kind of built into it. So I can't fault it too much for that. But because of the problems it caused really early on for a few months before they were able to get a handle on it, and because of the lack of predictability of what you can do or when you can get them or whatever, I'm gonna give it a solid C to C minus, somewhere in that range there.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And that's all I have for game systems. If there's any that I didn't touch on, you guys want to touch on, feel free to leave a comment on YouTube, tweet, Instagram comment. Feel free to go ahead and drop those. I do read those when they come in, although there's not very many. So yeah, feel free to reach out in that regard, and I would be happy to either further extrapolate or to look into whatever piece you want me to look into and give it a grade. So that is going to bring me to items. I find items oftentimes are related to game systems as the game puts them. So there's not a whole lot in items that I really want to go over except for Eclipse. I find that this item is, I don't want to use broken or busted in terms of being really good, but broken and busted in terms of why can every champ build this item and make really good use out of it,
Yeah, yeah. Every like AD champion, no matter.
Yeah, and it's a lean into the lethality system, I think, is really what it is that's doing it. You had, at the beginning of the year, you had Misfortune, who was just basically reigning supreme going Eclipse, right? And then you had Zaya going Eclipse. You had basically every ADC going Eclipse and still being able to get off massive attack speed. You would think the trade-off is high damage, low attack speed. Champions like Jhin, that those are kind of built for, right? And then Assassins should be the ones who are really using it. and instead you have Aatrox in the top lane, getting free shields and free Omnivamp, right? You have, like I said, Misfortune, uh, being able to just pummel people with the passive on that. You have Senna, who's really good at using that when she really should be like a Kraken Slayer, maybe Gale Force type user. Um, so I think that this item is just it's been gotten wrong, I guess is the best way to put it.
I think I think it kind of has the Ornn issue. It's just so overloaded. I mean,
Right.
I believe they dropped the lethality on it,
I
but
think so, but still.
they buffed the AD.
You still get armor pen as a passive too, right?
Yes.
Percentage armor pen, so
So like the fact that it gives you Omnivamp, it gives you the penetration, it gives you movement speed, it gives you a shield.
mhm.
That just seems like too much. I mean, like, was Gore Drinker an issue this season too? Maybe that was last year.
Not
Like,
really. I think last year was more of an issue because this year they dropped a lot of the healing off of it, I believe.
they got rid of the you would get like the health regen, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But they gave it Omnivamp. So
But I feel that I feel like Gore Drinker fits well with where it stands. You know what I mean?
there were times where I was seeing assassins playing it. Like I've seen like Blue
Right.
Canes run
Right.
Gore Drinker, and it's like, oh, that's not right.
Right. Um Also items that just don't get any love. Storm Razor that's just sitting there useless
I
for
wonder if you can look up pick rates of items.
I almost would bet that Lolalytics would have an item pick rate or something like that, or an item use rate. Another item, Stridebreaker, is what I would like to see get some love because really, Garen and depending on what Nocturne style you're playing, are the only two champions I've ever seen use that item. I don't see any other champion use Stridebreaker. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't see any other champion use Stridebreaker.
Who do you say, Garen?
Yeah, it's a Garen. Garen
Um,
in the Nocturne variation.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could go it on like Darius like Sheen items, but like Darius just running
Drinker.
Ghost or drink like yeah, but just Darius with like Stridebreaker is kind of gross. So you can you fucking just have the slow and you're just gonna stay on those motherfuckers.
Yeah, but there's also Triforce that you can go to instead.
That's what I'm saying.
There's just better like Stridebreaker just kind of sucks. I don't know. There's just better items out there.
I'm trying to think of another champion that might use it. Yeah, I think you're right.
There's not a whole lot like that's even worth trying to use. Like I said, Nocturne is just if you're gonna go utility Nocturne, then sure, But even Nocturne makes really good use of like Duskblade anyways, so it's almost like I don't even know what the mythic passive does for Stridebreaker. I don't know what it gives you.
Movement speed. 2%
Is that what it
movement
is?
speed.
Okay. Yeah, so it's okay. I wonder if they were to bump that up a little bit, if it'd be any better,
Oh, okay. So I am MOBAchampion.com. I couldn't find anything on Mobalytics.
Okay.
But this is saying there's a 0.4% pick rate of this item.
Ooh. Is that
Um,
regionally or world?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know
that's
this
fair, that's fair.
website, but
That's pretty bad. That's really fucking bad. Is it the
no,
lowest?
it's I'm not sure.
Okay.
Let's see.
The other item I want to touch on as well is Watchful Wardstone. I've only built it in a handful of games, and I generally only build it on champions that are mega utility based. Think of Renata or a Bard, Thresh situationally. That's about it. I mean, the stats it gives you are kind of garbage, and realistically, you don't need that item until your last item, anyways. I think rushing that item is a fucking waste. A waste of space.
Oh yeah, you have to be level 13, right?
Right, but it's also too easy to sink too much gold into it just to carry the extra pink ward. Like, by the time you're level 13, I mean, that's the right level to have it, but like getting that far in a game is a lot more difficult. As a support, if you're getting to level 15, 16 as a support, you probably, even at level 13, you probably have other items that you need to buy that are still more integral to your champion and your playstyle than the Wardstone. And actually, it's funny because I had seen somebody on Reddit today asking how to increase their vision score, and someone had suggested Wardstone, and someone underneath that had said, well, Wardstone's not really worth it. The stats are kind of booty, right? And you really only need the extra pink wards when your other team members are at full build and they can't, or close to full build, and they can't fit another pink ward in their inventory. So that's really the only time you need the extra pink ward. So what you're getting for it is kind of hot garbage. I'd like to see them do something, whether it's make the stats better or give you another incentive or another reason to buy that item. I mean, I think it only gives you durability type stats, if I remember correctly.
Like HP and stuff.
HP and armor and MR, which means any champion that's building like even slight amount of damage is not buying that, because fuck that. I'm a support. I have a low economy. I need to buy more damage, like Lux or even your unconventionals, your Zeraths and your mages, right? Zyras and stuff like that. Like, no, I need the ability power. I'm not getting anything from this item otherwise. Like, I don't need the max health. I don't care. So I don't know what to do with it, but I'm gonna give that item a D, just because it's garbage. It's not quite an F. I mean, it has a place, but that place is so limited, like Stormrazor, which is an F tier item. I'm gonna give it a solid D.
I mean, we'll mention when we get into durability, but like the fact that at the first half of the year, games were not lasting long enough to where supports would hit level 13. So, yeah, feels bad, man.
Right. And conveniently, that brings us to the end of where I want to go with items. So I'm going with a D. There wasn't an item that really caught my attention that I liked at all this year, that they changed, I should say, or that they've done anything to. Really, the ones that caught my attention were items that were too powerful or items that are just ungodly weak or useless.
Maybe I won't maybe give it a D, just because like those were 2 items out of I don't even know how many we have in the game.
Sure.
So I think like if they're limiting it to just 1 or 2 items that are like either insanely broken or just kind of useless, I'd probably give it like, I'll even go as far as like a B-. It could have been a lot worse. There could have been so many fucking items that just
it could be a lot
make
worse.
sense.
I just really can't stand Eclipse, and maybe that's my own bias, but I'm just
so-
tired of
it's
seeing
just
every
so
champion
broken.
build it. Yeah,
So OP.
that part drives me fucking insane. Every champion with that item. So yeah, I'm gonna land on D. Dean's gonna land on a B. You said B plus maybe.
Do B-.
B minus. Okay, so we're probably sitting at a solid C minus C. So take that for what you will. That brings me into the durability changes, which I have as its own, a very small little section. And I'm gonna give durability a C. Pretty average change, and at first it started off, I thought it was a solid change. And then we watched every patch for the next 5 or 6 patches chip away and chip away and chip away at durability, to the point where I questioned, why the fuck did we do this in the first place? And if you could live with it or live without it, that's a fucking C.
Yeah, it was, and just the idea of like a major update like that, in the middle of the season, whereas it definitely should have been a preseason thing.
Right.
It just kind of, like, I feel like what happened is Riot just felt like everyone was talking, and obviously there was way too much damage. There's way too much damage in the game. Excuse me.
Yes, power creep is fucking insane.
So I just feel like they woke up one day and they're like, all right, we just got to make everything tankier. And a lot of the champions not, like, it was super just out of the blue.
It was definitely out of the blue, but I mean, I felt like it was needed though.
Sure. And then,
I was tired of playing champions just getting blown up. Like, that was annoying.
But then the fact that they slowly started reverting it, it's just like, what the fuck is going on? What do you want?
Right. That was so dumb. That was just like, we're reading every patch as they're just like, yep, and this person's losing base health or base armor or base MR. I'm like, why did we increase it in the first place then? Like, what was the point of that?
Yeah,
they don't fucking know.
I'll give it like a C. That sounds about right.
Right. It's like, yeah, we did a thing and then we just peeled back slowly. So Um. Okay, and the big one here, in my opinion, champions. This includes reworks and new champions. Um. So I'm thinking things along the lines of Casantes, Renatas, Neelas, Udyr, Syndra, Sivir. Sivir's one I left out on the list actually, but champions. I would say if I had, I would give him a solid A on champions this year. I think that
Wait. Okay, go ahead. Finish your statement.
don't count Yumi. That's not really a rework. That thing's fucked anyways. Oh, you know what? I forgot Zeri though. I can't give it an A. I gotta go back down to. I gotta go back down to a B. I have to go to a B. Everything except for Zeri. Everything except for Zeri is I thought was an A. Renata, I thought Renata hit really well to the point that she wasn't overpowerful. She felt justly balanced, but I felt like if you knew how to play her, she was really good. But if you didn't, she was fucking hot garbage. I feel that Sivir was tilted a little bit too powerful when they first re-released her, or when they first made the changes, and they brought it down to be more even. So I think she's fair, and obviously they usually do that with most new things anyways. They start off more powerful than they need to be. I can't give a good grade on Cassante just because we haven't played him, but my honest first impression, I liked him. I thought he was pretty cool. Everyone seemed to kind of think he was kind of average or maybe low. I mean, the two guys I gave grades, you guys ended up with an average of about 5 out of 10, which is just mid-grade. It's not an when you're going out of a 10 scale, I feel like an F is like a 2 or lower, a 3 or lower. So your guys' collective grade's kind of a C. Neela, really fucking cool champion. I actually really like Neela. She just takes some skill to play. When she gets going, she's really, really fucking fun to play. So I would say I do like Neela. She's a solid B plus champion. She has an 8 weaknesses. Her lane phase fucking blows cheeks. And then you kind of have to play a little bit more of assassiny with her as a flanking champion. So like I said, take some skill and some knowledge. Syndra, that champion's busted, but fun also. Like her new little mini game is pretty fun. I give her probably an A minus. Zeri's a solid F because they couldn't figure out what the fuck to do with her until they just nerfed her into the ground. She was actually fucking useless. Who am I forgetting? Oh, Udyr. Udyr was awesome. Udyr, I would say at first didn't like, grew on me. Solid A. Solid A on Udyr. I thought they did him justice.
Belveth.
Belveth. I still don't know what to think about that champion. I'm gonna give her a C because I'm kind of indifferent on where she fits and how well she is. But I do think that she's better in some hands than others, for sure, as any champion is. But I think that she's just got a decently strong skill cap, and obviously she's a scaling champion. So she gets really fucking good about level 16. She's damn near unstoppable.
Let's see. Okay, I think we agree on Renata. I really like Renata. Very
from her aesthetic, right, all the way down to
Yeah.
her gameplay, I think is very, very well done.
Yeah, she's definitely like just the way she talks and walks is badass.
Right.
Gameplay is fun. I think the ulti is really gross. The W is really weird. I remember we're kind of hesitant on the W at first.
Right.
Any revive mechanic is kind of, oh god, why are
Right.
you doing this?
Right, but I feel like hers is pretty fair.
It's fair.
I think it's pretty fair.
Belveth, I think is just such a like you said. I think it's like the only time I'm ever gonna see one is probably if they're like a one trick or
Right.
like the whole team, like in pro play at least, the whole team has to revolve around that champion to get going.
Yep.
Udyr is cool. I feel like he was just one dimensional on release, whereas
Yes.
like previous Udyr, you could definitely build like you could either go Tiger or Phoenix. On release, Udyr was just like, oh, Phoenix is literally the only way to go, or else you're trolling.
Yep.
I think they kind of averaged that out. I don't know too much about Cassante yet. Syndra, I feel like is the same thing as Sivir, just really overpowered. We might be seeing some hits on her next week on the patch. I wouldn't be surprised if they're nerfing her.
I have not seen her on any pre-patch notes.
I
Obviously,
haven't
the pre-patch notes, but
Okay.
I
So
have
maybe
not seen her yet.
Huh. She's very overpowered. That's my perma ban now.
You're right. I was gonna say I haven't seen too much of her, but like when we play against her, I just feel like we're getting absolutely shithoused every time.
Neela, I feel like was the same thing. I thought she was gonna be a lot stronger than she is, but
Right.
being melee has its own, obviously is gonna have its own weaknesses, especially like if you're laning against like a Caitlyn Lux, Caitlyn Morgana, you're fucked. Like I don't
Right.
know how you, but I mean I play a lot of Sejuani, and that is fucking awesome to gank bot lane, especially if like the support's playing like Yumi or some kind of enchanter that's obviously not a melee, and then boom, we have
Right.
an extra melee on the team. That's awesome.
Right.
I don't know. And then Zeri, I'm literally gonna give champions this year an F, just literally because of Zeri. She brings
That's fair.
the whole thing down and fucking just ruins it. When I think back, if in like years I'm gonna think back, oh, what happened in season 12? Oh, Zeri literally gets released in January. For the next 7 or 8 months, just nerfs, buffs, nerfs, buffs, nerfs, buff. Don't know what to do with this fucking champion. And then
Yeah, and then understanding how her, like the math of all of her abilities, nigh impossible.
just, and then they have to nerf her into the ground, and this is almost like I don't know. I'm surprised they even. I mean, maybe they shouldn't have, or they wouldn't do it. Like, I feel like they might as well just fucking remove this champion for the time being. Like,
Is she York part 2?
maybe. I mean,
No, never know what the fuck to do. There really is no counter to it, right? And then the only way you deal with it is by nerfing it into the ground, making it unplayable.
it just sucks. Like,
Yeah.
it's so bad.
Well,
I
I think also what sucks too is like it was born out of a collaboration with Valorant, right? To try to kind of bring those worlds together a little bit, and like
I do
it
like
just,
that though.
I thought that was cool. I like that idea, but it felt like maybe the champ was a little overthought, either overthought or rushed, either overthought or underthought, but it wasn't thought out well. Because of the way that her kit works and stuff like that. It's just like, why is this champion as an ADC pumping out massive single target damage and team fight damage, building Titanic and fucking
Triforce.
Runeans and Triforce, right? Like,
And
what the fuck is
Has
that?
4,000 movement speed. You cannot catch her.
Nope. Yeah, for a point there was no weakness, and that's a big problem. Like, sure, Vayne can pump out massive single target damage, or you can do the little Rift Maker fucking build or whatever and do a lot of AoE damage, but she has a weakness. She's very fucking squishy, and you can catch her unless the player is really fucking good. Zeri, you don't have to be good. You just press R and you're skating around, and no one can catch you at all. And that's a problem.
Yeah, champions, just everything gets canceled out because of Zeri. That's just an F. Fucking horrible.
That is fair. From there, guys, I don't really have anything else to put in front of you to grade.
Did you happen to write down all the gradings we've been doing?
I wrote down all the big ones and then most of
Sure.
the minor ones.
All right, so go run through them really quick.
So overall, we had Drake's at a B minus.
Okay.
You had Champs at an F. I had Champs at a B because of Zeri. Yours was F because of Zeri. I had items at a D. I believe you had items at a B. I did not write your grade for some reason.
Okay.
Game systems, I had it a solid B. I think we were in agreement there. And durability, we both said C. Everything in between the little ones, you guys just have to listen back and catch them as they went, because I didn't write all of them down. I had some as I was writing them, I was writing my initial thoughts about them. And some of those changed after we kind of fleshed it out. So I didn't write them all down. So you guys just have to go back and listen to it if you guys want to get all those grades down pat.
So what do you you want to average them, or do you just from what I'm like imagining in my head, I'm thinking like a C minus.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. That's exactly what I'm getting. There's a few bright spots, but more often than not this season, it felt frustrating due to the way that, the beginning of the season when everything was so fucking squishy. Like, you're just fucking getting blown up. That was boring. Seeing Zeri or having to permaban that champion because you can't fucking hit her with anything. Even basic attacks was fucking boring. Chemtech's bullshit sucked. Hextech was great, but I don't think it outweighed Chemtech's failure. And seeing Eclipse in every fucking game is boring. Totally
I think
fucking boring.
the fact that we had Fs in general is not good.
Right, we didn't have as many A's as we had F's. That's
Sure.
for damn sure.
Like that's yeah.
Like I think the biggest A would be Hextech and probably Renata. And then Syndra was kind of close there. She's kind of an A minus because she might be just a little overpowered, slightly overtuned. But again, she's newer, and I don't think people are playing her right now. It's not really the meta to play a champion like that too often. Also, we're permabanning her, so who fucking knows? Right. Matchmaking was decent. Like the game systems were decent, but I felt like we had a lot more average to below average grades, or far below average grades than we had above. So, yeah, overall, I'm just thinking, let's just call it average, maybe C minus.
I like it. That's fair.
I want to know what you guys think. If you had to grade, you can grade letters, you can grade numbers.
How about we put a poll?
Yeah.
Poll,
okay.
Just what do you grade, and we'll just do A through F.
Yep, that's cool. I'm down with that.
So, I mean, you don't have to go into think about as much detail, but just as an average, how you're feeling, let us know. That'll be the poll, and then remind us. I mean, do you have another question? Because I had asked earlier for people to remind us of anything that's been like completely yeeted from the game.
No, I like that question. I like that question a lot.
And then if anybody wants to add anything else, of course.
I think if you want to add something memorable about this season to you, like Dean said, think back on the season, thinking Zeri. If there's something that in this season that stands out to you, I think that's also a fair spot for that. And like I said, YouTube's a great spot to drop those comments. Instagram's a great spot to drop those comments. Tweeting at us is a great spot. Discord's another great spot. We get a lot of stuff on Discord. I just wish I had more of you guys in the Discord to check this stuff out. That's what I wish. So if you're not there, follow the link in the link tree to the Discord. Pretty easy to find. I believe the Discord channel is actually called ATLE Pod. So you can just search in Discord ATLE Pod, all is one word. You can also find us there and come in. We like to talk. We hang out with everybody. If you've had plenty of people in, Icy Fire's been in a lot. Sorcery's been commenting a lot. Aslor as well. So there's a lot of good discussions that go on in the Discord that you guys don't get to see on Instagram or Twitter, because you got to get in this channel if you guys want it. So other than that, of course, if you like us, drop us a rating, drop us a like on YouTube, a sub if you can. If you're on, I think you can actually drop subs on Apple Podcasts as well. Great spot. There are some good reviews on there, but we haven't had any new ones really this year since February. So one of you new guys, Bob sat on a log. And then, other than that, I don't have anything else for you guys.
No, that's it. I think that's fine, guys.
Great.
Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back next week early for the patch, and we'll be back to champion review as well. Beautiful. So, good luck in your games, and we will see you next week.
Happy Friday, y'all.